So a network engineer could be sitting here listening to you describe that. And we've heard those words many times now across the course of this podcast and different blog posts, et cetera. What does that mean for a network engineer, though, as a networker is thinking about this stuff? Because you could, as a networking person, push back on everything you just said and said, I don't really give a crap how the application is architected. Fix your architecture. I'm happy to provide you all the bandwidth and the latency profile, whatever you're looking for. I don't care about your app, though. So where do networkers fit into this app re-architecture for the cloud?
That's a great question, as always. So I've been in that specific perspective where I'm like, I'm not going to help you with the app, right? I can just get you the QoS you need, whatever specifically is identified, and then you guys run with the app. And a lot of times in that situation, it's not successful because the application team needs assistance, the developers, the security people. And so what I find, at least in my experience, the best situation is to create like almost like a group, a tiger team, or a small subset to work on that app. So I usually get an app owner, like whoever's in charge of the application that understands it, knows what it's supposed to do. I get a security guy that's going to be in charge of, making sure the app is secure, making sure that the data is secure. And then I get a network person on my team to help with that entire application. And that way we're documenting it and we're instantiating correctly in a cloud model. And then also everyone understands what that application needs and not what people think they want. There's always this need versus want. And every time someone says they want something, I'm always like, well, why? Why? Why do you need that? Why do you want that? Let's level set and figure out what you truly need for that application.
I'm going to take you on about the cloud native thing. I actually think that's overblown because everybody's taught, and I have a theory that it's kind of like the teenage sex thing. And if you go and ask customers if they're all going cloud native, the answer is yes, we're all going cloud native. And that's why you're seeing these analyst reports with ridiculous amounts of numbers, like, 80% of companies are going to be 80% in the cloud by 2021, whatever the outrageous, and we're going to be spending $3.5 trillion on cloud by 2022, whatever the outrageous number might be. And of course, the entire enterprise IT market is only $1 trillion. It's not 3.5. So that's impossible. Right. One of the things that I'm seeing is that a lot of people are talking about it, but they're not actually doing it. Or if they're doing it at very, very modest scale. Now, there's a few outliers out there. There's a couple of other things that distort the message. Is that there are companies who are doing it, who are making money out of talking about the fact that they're doing it. But the people who aren't doing cloud, they're not talking about it. You're not hearing about them. So it's the teenage sex thing. If you go and ask a teenage boy, 80% of the teenage boys say, oh, yeah, definitely had sex multiple times, right? And 10% of the girls go, yeah, no, never had sex. It's like completely the opposite. And you're like, hang on, these things don't. And it's a question of where's the money? The money is the people who are doing something that correlates to a particular storage that aligns with a marketing budget. You hear a lot about that, but what you're not hearing is companies like Bank of America, who I believe has decided on an anti-cloud strategy. They are completely opposed to any public cloud whatsoever, and they are not moving anything to the public cloud because they regard the cloud as a tax on their profits. Every time they increase consumption, it costs them more and more and more, and they have zero control over that budget because the cloud can charge them whatever they like, and they've got no way of refusing to pay or serve. There's no service levels on the cloud. There's no guarantees in the cloud. And they're saying, we can do all of this in-house. We can guarantee our costs. It's all under our control, but we need to cloud native our existing infrastructure. Is that not something you're seeing? Is that story relevant?
So I think that story is actually pretty relevant. There's a couple of thoughts I had as you were saying all that, Greg. So I think there are customers that aren't going to cloud. I think that's just going to happen natively. I think there's going to be some of these people that just are going to be, nope, not going to cloud at all. And that's fine, right? That's fine for them. They have whatever requirement or justification that they're backing on that. I think, if you go back a couple of years, I think everyone thought cloud was going to be this big money saver, and it's not always a money saver. There's a lot of money involved to move into cloud. Once you start getting that bill every day, every month, right? The utilization of your servers, the uptime, the data, right? All that data that you're paying money for. I don't think people realize that cost. It does add up pretty quick, especially if you're using certain services or resources and whatnot, depending on the cloud provider. But to the point of like moving the cloud and the mandate there, like I think there's a lot of organizations, and again, my current environment, I work with the government, so the U.S. government, and there's an overall mandate for them to move the cloud. Anything that they can move the cloud overnight needs to be moved to cloud. So applications are getting assigned, databases are getting assigned to cloud. Now, for a lot of these customers, they're not going to that cloud service provider that's a public cloud service provider. They have their own built cloud environments, right, that are certified and appropriate, and then they can instantiate those SLAs that you were talking about, right? That they can actually guarantee that application or that user is going to get what they need at the right time and the right.
So effectively,
place.
That's a private cloud.
Yep, exactly.
That's cloud native.
Yeah. You got
it's not actually public cloud in the form that most people see. This comes back to my teenage sex question. The deaf question is who you ask, right? But everybody just goes, oh, we're going to the cloud, but they're not. They're actually just aggregating their private data centers into a combined shared infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think it's more of like different customers are going to have different requirements, right? And like, I think commercial cloud has a fit, and it just happens to be some of my customers, they just can't use commercial cloud, right? So they have to have a certain, security level, and they have to make sure a certain compliance standard and whatnot. And so creating a fit for purpose cloud, I would call it probably like a fit for purpose cloud, makes sense for them. Now that's organizational wide, right? So that's one high level organization's making this cloud, and now everyone's using it, and they're mandated to use that cloud, unless they have a valid reason why they don't need to use it.